Yep. I don't know if I'm here or if I'm not. Let's see. I'm trying to find out the technical stuff. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so if you can see me, just say hello in the chat or something. I'm a bit out of my comfort zone here because I'm trying out some new software, but I'll be rolling in about 5 minutes, I think. I'll just have to figure out some technicalities. So, anyways, welcome to the live stream. I'm Ole Petter Myhren, subfarik.com, and I'm stoked to have you in here somewhere. The topic today is streaming. No, streaming, that is what I'm doing. The topic today is gear, and I'm desperately trying to figure out how to place myself. Like, let's see, I'm here. Oh yeah, I'm here with the gear in your ear. Let's see. Here we have some. Oh yeah, it's better like this, I think. Oop. Just have to try to figure out how to place my frame and everything. This looks nice. Nice enough, like this. And I'm double checking on my mobile phone. Yeah, looks good. Oh yeah, looks nice. Yeah, and there's a bit of a latency. So I think more or less that's it. Let's see, and now I'm trying to find the chat. You might have, if you said anything to me, I haven't found where to see it yet, but I'm looking for it. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Just be a bit patient with me. Let's say 2 minutes. And I'm rolling. Let's see. You know that feeling when everyone is watching and you haven't figured out how to, for example, turn on the sound or something? It's like you get all sweaty and stuff, but you can't see that on camera, but I'm really sweating right now. Let's see. Yeah. So nice. So I'm using the OBS streaming software for the first time in my life. I've used StreamYard before, and it was, I must say, the learning curve wasn't that steep, but there are more possibilities here in this OBS because at a later point I would like to live stream beat making and mixing sessions, mastering sessions, and whatnot, and I would not need audio, and StreamYard doesn't offer that yet. So I know OBS does it with 2 audio interfaces at least. So, and I have 2 audio interfaces, so that makes for But where the hell do I find the chat? I would like to see the chat, man. View. I wish I could problem solve and tell a joke at the same time, but not now. So what I'm currently looking for is a screen where I could find the chat, and where if you leave a if you engage with me in the chat and I could answer you, and that's the whole the whole point of streaming. I think that we can have a conversation of some sort, and this one in particular, because this is about gear, and I wanted to show you my gear, but I also wanted to ask you questions about your gear and what you like, what you don't like, what you think you need and what you think you don't need, and everything all those things. And I see there are quite some few of you here, and just want to welcome you if you just got in. I'm about to begin. I said 5 minutes 5 minutes ago, and now it's in 5 minutes I will start. Really. For real. Let's see here. Just have to Google it, I guess. Okay. Now I found the chat, but in another place. But I'll just have it in front of me here, so I see you guys. Let's see. I'll just have to enhance it a bit, to really see what you're saying here. And oh yeah, nice. Okay, so Jean, Welcome back. It's good to see you, or at least hear from you again. And we have Ivar Fridtjof Hansen. And hello to you too. And so nice that you are giving me these tips and advices. When it comes to the lightning, I guess I am doing my best. I have a softbox right behind me here. I'll just move that a bit. So just 1 second. And now I can actually change this slide right here to like so. So 1 moment. So now I guess the lightning is even more intense. I think this is the best I can do for now, and then I will just work my ways in the future. And I saw that someone, let's see who that was. I saw a hello from the from the Netherlands, Haluk. And I've been twice to Amsterdam, and I've traveled around in the Netherlands with my wife some years back, and it's a wonderful country, and we love Amsterdam, and we love the Netherlands and Belgium. And it's like the same genre almost, but they're two different beasts altogether. But so cool to have someone from the Netherlands blessing the chat. And we have, let's see, oh yeah, nice. So without any further ado, thank you for the patience. I'm learning. I'm continuously in a process of learning. There are a lot of skills to acquire being a YouTuber like this. You know, all the lightnings and the cameras and the software, and with or without audio and everything. So let me just start. So I was thinking about gear, and the last live stream I did was a month back, and my plan is actually to have at least one live stream per month. Amongst all the weekly YouTube videos that comes out, tutorials and reviews and what have you. But I really liked it last time when I had this live stream. Some feedback that I got was that it was a bit too short. It's still there on my channel if you want to go revisit that one at a later point. It was a bit short. I think I kept it going for about half an hour. And it was really short and concise, and some of you missed that I maybe I should maybe have gone more in depth in the different topics, because there were important topics. We were discussing inspiration and music, and how we came about loving music production. So this time we're talking about gear. We touched upon the subject last time as well. So I was thinking about going a bit more in depth, even though I don't want to keep you here for hours, but we can see where this goes. And I have I've built a framework beforehand. So let's just show you now. So I've got this slide right here, and I just want to explain before I start talking, sort of. So let's see. I'll move this a bit so that it's more visible. It was a bit large, I think. So here we go. I'll just unenhance it, and I'll move myself out of the way. Look here. Let's see. More or less like so. Okay. So I've actually. Okay. So here I am. Okay. So here's my first reflection, and when I think about gear for music production, I think in categories. So there are several categories. I think I have 4 or 5 main categories of music production equipment. And on the right side here, I have a box that's called considerations. And these are these are important terms to consider when we think about music equipment. Budget, how much money do you want to spend, and the return of investment if you're thinking about, like, for example, mix and master for other people, or produce music for produce music that you want to sell, or initially want to grow your fan base as an artist or whatever. So if you buy a preamp, if you buy a $2,000 preamp, will you get those money back at a later point from streams? that would be a lot of streams on Spotify, or concerts or what have you. So those are some consideration. Genre, what type of genre do you are you making music in, or maybe you do several genres maybe. So for example, for an EDM producer, it would be more sensible to have invested in synths and software, and yeah. But for a singer-songwriter, more of a maybe Cubase or Pro Tools type thing, and more heavily invested in musical instruments such as guitars and microphones and maybe live percussion and what have you. And then, do you want to be stationary or portable or somewhere in between? That's one consideration. Do you want to be able to take your music studio with you on the plane, on the train, on tour, if you're traveling a lot, or are you do you like to spend most of your time in your studio? There are pros and cons to both. You get used to how your room sounds, for example, and then when you go out, you have different sounds. Your music sounds different because you have another environment, another space, another room, and so on. And then you have room size. How much equipment is there space for? Do you have room for an 88 key keyboard, for example? That's a consideration. Future needs. This is a tricky one because you never know where the future will bring you, and I'll show you some concrete examples of that from my own experience later. And finally, the gas, the famous gear acquisition syndrome, where you get one piece of equipment and then you want more and more. And then you start reading about equipment on the internet, reading a lot of reviews, and read Sound on Sound magazine, for example, where they always review, they always have positive reviews of all the equipment they put on review, and then you just crave more and more, and so that's a real thing to consider. So those are the consideration, and the first category, the first topic here is the mothership, as I call it, and that's the central station for all your gear, for all your music making, in my opinion. It's so that's it. Now let me just see what you are saying. So Rasmus, hello to you. So good to see you in the chat. I don't think you have missed that much, actually. The topic is gear, and this is the first slide in my wonderfully crafted PowerPoint presentation, or keynote, because this is a Mac. So this is the first slide, so you really haven't missed anything. Other than that, I was struggling with OBS, the software, the streaming software, just before, but I think I figured most things out. The audio is working and everything. Let's see, Ivar. Yeah, let me just read. Oh, Ivar, so you are based in LA now, because I think you're Norwegian, but you have moved to LA and you're doing ambient music there for more than 20 years. So and maybe even with more intensity than me. I've been making music since the mid 90s. I bought my first music equipment in 1994. That's a story of its own. I walked with newspapers for 2 years. I walked the newspaper route, and I saved up for two turntables and a mixer, and that was my first music equipment. I had a cam mixer with a sample button of 8 seconds, and with that I started to make loops in 1994. So that's a long time ago. So cool to see that we have other old timers in the chat. Oh, you have audio only on your right ear? Does that is that do other people also know? What if I do this? What happens to the sound now? Is sound on both ears now, or do you have more of a phase issue or a comb filter effect now? What do you reckon? Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I have a comb filter effect on my voice right now. Just give me some feedback on how my mic works now. Maybe Rasma, maybe you have, maybe it's your headphones that are not working properly, or it's the mic. But it's a mono source, so it's strange why it should be only on your right ear. I think I've engaged here in the audio mixer here the microphone input on my laptop and the microphone, the external condenser microphones. I don't know what gives. Shush. Okay, right. I think it's back where it was now. Let me go into the Universal Audio console and see if there's any issues. Anything I can do here? Did this help? I had an artist in the studio a couple of days back. I did some tweaks I don't remember what I did actually. Oh, I've boosted some in the highs. I will take that back. Can't have that, can we? There's some compression going in. I don't know. Audio right ear only. What? How about now? Am I gone, or let's see. It has to be the software. It has to be the OBS software, I think. Some weird things going on here. I don't even want to double click here, because I think what happens then is the whole program shuts down. I'm on a MacBook M2. It's not all apps are loving on the new M2 chip, I think. So I think maybe that's the case. I'll have to study that. But if audio on one ear works only, I'm so sorry about that, but that's the way it is. Okay. So what I've said here, or what I've written down here, is that this is a must-have, the mothership, and level 1. And I've made all these levels. I think it was suitable. So level 1 is your phone, so you can start making music right away with a phone, and that's like miles away from when I started making music in the mid-90s. We had it was really hard and difficult to start making music back then. Now it's easier than ever with just a phone. And then you have a DAW, and you can download something free. If you have iOS, you can just use GarageBand. I've experimented a lot with GarageBand, both on the iPhone and the iPad. And I've also had an Android phone once, and I even had some audio making software there as well. So it's perfectly possible to just use the phone. But I think that, at least for me, uh, I tried to go the iPad route once, and it didn't work for me. I lacked inspiration, and everything is sort of tedious when you have to use your hands to touch and drag and drop, and you don't have the same file system as you have on a PC or Mac. So that was lacking in my opinion. But what do you think? Would you do fine with a phone or a tablet, or do you need a computer in your opinion? What do you know? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Whoop. Yeah. And while I'm waiting for the chat, because there's a slight delay here, if you're watching the rerun or if you're watching this after the stream, let me know also in the comments. Do you prefer a Mac or PC for music production, or can you do fine with just an iPad or a phone? Let me know. Both are possible, but I don't know. I prefer the PC or Mac. And then I have the level 1 is the phone, or maybe even an iPad. But then you have level 2, the consumer grade computer, and that was where I started when it came down to computers. I started with a computer back in, I think it was 2002 or 3. That was my first computer, and it was an old stationary that a friend had kicked out from work because they had upgraded their computer systems at work, and it was a Pentium 3 or something, which was really good back in the 90s, but in the early 2000s it was a bit outdated, but I used it anyways. I remember that I had 2 gigabytes of hard drive, and I used a cracked version of Cool Edit, or Adobe Audition, which it was later called. It was called Cool Edit, I remember. And then later on I got Reason 2.5 I think I was on, and I started making beats on the computer. Before that I used my famous Electribe from Korg, this baby right here. Let me enhance myself so you can really see. Oh yeah, this one. What do you think? Oh, like this. So this was my first baby. This was the first machine I had where I could lay drums and samples at the same time. Before that, I had a 4-track multi-track recorder from Fostex, using an old drum machine that was unable to produce swing and shuffle. So it was it was syncopated, or what's it called? Not syncopated, but everything was quantized to the 1/16th grid, so it was really boring. Only way to go was record live drums while I was tapping. That was the only way to go. So, and a 4-track Fostex, and that was my first mothership, in fact. So the second mothership was my 2002, I think, computer, and then I moved on. So another stationary computer, which was better, that had maybe 50 gigabytes or something. And then I bought my first MacBook in 2006, and I have been on Mac since that. Even though Macs are expensive, but it's all the hassle with the antivirus software that I don't like about the PCs, the Windows computers. I've never tried Linux, and then I started using a cracked version of Logic back in, I think it was maybe 2009, 2010. It was after Apple had bought the Logic software from eMagic, so I was never on the original Logic, but I started using Logic in 2009, I think, and then and then I bought it eventually some years later, and I've had it ever since. And now I can't switch platform, and that's the genius of Apple. They have it only for Macs. So if you're upgrading your computer, you have to go Mac because Logic is what you know. I think that's the reason why, and it's quite genius, I think, from marketing perspective, from a sales perspective, from Mac, from Apple, Macintosh, Apple. So yeah. Let's see here. Now I was rambling. I think here are a lot of nice comments. Let's see. Haluk. A computer or a big touch screen would be nice. GarageBand and touch instruments are so nice to play. I wish Logic Pro had this touch on Mac OS. Yeah, they experimented with the touch on the toolbar, which is now the F button or the function keys. I never had that Mac. That was between my Macs. Now I have a new one, the M2, and it doesn't have that touch ability. I don't miss touch. I frankly don't like touch that much. I touch all the time, all day with my phone, and when it comes down to making music, I have tried, for example, the MPC version for the iPad, and while it was a bit fun initially, when I started making beats, there's something about the tactile experience that is robbed from you when you don't feel. You have the tactic feedback. What's it called? The haptic feedback, which is on phones and iPads now. But so it helps a bit. But it's something about, I don't know, the feel and touch of it. But that's of course personal, and I really appreciate people having different preferences. It's really nice. Thanks for the comment there. Yeah, PC for Rasma and Ivar. You would prefer the you would. Oh yeah. Yeah, you would prefer the computer, but you like using maybe the phone for jotting down ideas, and then you can have ideas everywhere, anywhere, and then transfer it to a computer later. I think it's Ableton that has this related application, or was it Reason? I don't remember. It's some years back that I heard about. They had this function that you could basically you could whistle something, or you could sing something, and and Ableton or whatever app it was could transfer that into something, into a synth or MIDI, and then you could bring it onto your computer. So if you had a melody in your head, you could just sing it on your phone, and then it could be stored, and then you could import it into your DAW on your computer. It's really sweet. Yeah, John, you're on the Mac, laptop, or the stationary. So I started with a Mac laptop, and then I continued with an iMac, and I deeply regretted getting the iMac. I really like the screen. It's a big, nicely lit screen. I really like the monitor screens that Apple provides. I really wish for one of those big Apple screens they have out now. Those are too expensive for me. I can't justify getting one of those. But I regret having an iMac because it's stationary and I can't bring it along with me, and because I'm traveling more and more, and I'm finding myself on the train or at different places. I need to be able to make music whenever inspiration strikes, I guess. So having a laptop is really important to me, and laptops these days are more than good enough. If they're properly spec'd, they're more than good enough for music production. I think it was back in the old days when when laptops were quite inferior to stationary computers, but I don't think that applies that much anymore. But now at least I have this new laptop that I got is capable of everything. I can throw everything at it, and that was quite an investment. I would say this is touching upon the pro grade spectrum of the. I think this is a level 3 mothership. It's not fully spec'd, but it has more processing power and RAM that I could ever dream of. So it's quite nice. And the only thing I regret about is I have only 500 gigabytes of hard drive space. When you're making music and you're purchasing a computer for making music, you always think that I don't need that much space because it's limited how much space a couple of DAWs will take up. I have Logic, I have Ableton, and I have Reason, but I had to uninstall it because I didn't have that much space. Even though Reason doesn't take that much space, but I'm in the position where space is scarce. So, and I have Machine. I've uninstalled that as well. So I really regret getting 500 gigabytes. I think 1 terabyte is the minimum you should go for when considering a new computer for music production, because you don't only make music, you make videos as well. And and even if you think that you will only make music and only produce audio, I think that the more serious you get about music production, the more you need video, because in any case you want to create some content around your music to get your music out there. And so that was a bit of a mistake that I made there, but for next time I will remember that mistake, and I will get a better and bigger hard drive. And on these new Macs, you can't replace your hard drive even. So for my last, I had a MacBook Pro from 2015, and that was one of the last iterations of MacBook that had that ability to just open up the trunk and put in a new hard drive. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry about the delay here, but Haluk started with an Amiga in the 80s to make music and sampling, coupled with a cassette deck, reel-to-reel, and 2 Technics SL turntables. Wow. Oh, you're my friend now. This is exactly what some of those things was. Stuff that I tried to do. I tried to upgrade my Amiga for music production. I never made it there, but I made a good effort at least. I tried to buy a used interface for Amiga, but that never turned out. So and I had turntables indeed, not the Technics one. Those came a bit later. But so good to see. And cassette decks. So did you have like two boom boxes playing together, or one on the record and one playing back the beat, for example? Did you do that, or just a cassette deck as for recording your music? I think I did both. I had also this stationary cassette deck, which was like a rack mounted type of cassettes for hi-fi. Yeah, so and I remember I always wished for a DAT player, like digital audio tape, which was a much better sound quality back then. Never had one of those. I think those they started on $1,000 and upwards, so really expensive back then. And then came Minidisc. And that really blew my mind, because then I could record then I could transfer all my beats over to high quality sounding CD quality recordable Medium. That was really great. Oh, Atari 1040. Wow, Fritjo, Ivar. That's old school. That's I think that's early 80s when Atari was or maybe in the mid 80s or approaching the 90s, but it was before my time because I started with the Amiga. I had my Amiga in 1990, 91, give or take, maybe a bit later. Yeah, 90, 91, 92 maybe. Yeah, I heard about Amigas, but I didn't have any friends. No, I'm sorry, Atari. I didn't have any friends with Atari, so I've actually never sat down with them. No, Atari. I was confusing with this other the Commodore 64, but Atari. Yeah, that was more in the 90s. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Cool. Hei, Jon Petter. Kult å se deg. Jeg håper du henger ut. Yeah, have a look. Wow, cool. So nice to see you got you have some vintage vibes going on right now. Jean, you're on your 5th Mac. Salute, man. I'm on my 3rd. But I think that's what I'm going to roll with for the rest of my life. If nothing better shows up. Oh yeah, 2 separate cassette decks, and then you would record back and forth. Cool. Yeah, you're right, Sean. Atari was still around in 1994. Yeah, you're probably right. And here comes Rasma with the cold hard facts. Let's see, Wiki. The Atari 1040 ST, released in 1986 with 1 megabyte of memory. Look at that. Was the first home computer with a cost per kilobyte of RAM under US $1 per kilobyte. Oh my. That's awesome. Yes. Oh yeah. So you're about to upgrade your Mac. So Jean, remember that. Everything under 1 terabyte is out of the question. Just go for 1 terabyte or more. And yeah, that's my. I really regret that. 500 gigabytes is not enough. It's a bit scarce, you could say. Right, let's move me back here. So I think we've touched upon some considerations here, at least when it comes to the future needs. Stationary versus portable. I think we talked about that. Like not that structured maybe, but budget and ROI. So in my case, I think that I don't know about ROI. That's an unknown factor for me. I do both music production and I do mixing. I do mastering for other people. So I do it as a professional service, and I do it as a favor also for friends. So it's like I don't think it's a niche where you become a millionaire. I don't think that. And then there's the YouTube channel and everything. So there are considerations there. But anyways, it's more about budgeting. So I would think that, for example, when I got my computer there, it was a lot of money, and I just had to justify spending them on that piece of equipment. And luckily I did, because just a couple of months later, my old MacBook Pro went completely dead and unrepairable. It just stopped working for some reason. I don't know why. So it was definitely worth it. And then when it comes to genre, that's like if you are, and I think that if you're really old school and you like that old school vibe and you hate the fact that you have to use a computer for music making, there are some left of us thinking that music should be all analog, and I don't blame them, because it's something about the feeling also when you are recording something, and you may be more acquainted with recorders, like multi-track recorders, for example. So that might be one case where the computer is like out of the question, but in any other instance, I think that as long as you have a computer, that's basically all you need to get some music making going. You have the built-in speakers in your computer. You have a keyboard that can be doubled as a playing keyboard or a piano roll. And so you basically have everything, and you can get software for free or for cheap. You have Reaper that's cheap. You have cheap versions of Ableton and Reason and all the other major DAWs, and so that's basically all you need. And if someone came up to me and asked, what should I spend money on? I want to start make music. I haven't made any music before in my life, and I want to start now. I would say start with your phone, and then I would say get a laptop or a computer. If you don't have it yet, just get one. And it doesn't matter how good it is or how much processing power you have, because you can always upgrade later. So starting out, you can always upgrade. You need to start somewhere. Yeah. Nice. Rasma, you gotta go. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and us. It's been a pleasure. I hope I see you again in the next live stream, which will be in a month. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Oh, Ole Petter fan 23. Can you tell me about the proxy wars that the US and USSR carried out during the Cold War? Get out of here. No, I'm kidding. Just stay here. But I think that you have more important stuff to do, because you are going to get your assignment tomorrow at 9 a.m. So now it's 10 to 9. Do some more reading, check out the documentaries that I have posted, and good luck. I root for you, Patrick. I know that you can do this. Okay. Now back to where we were. So this is the mothership, and then I mentioned using the laptop speakers, and let's see. And let's see here. So we have 3 levels here as well. And starting out, the headphones is more than sufficient. Most of my beats are made using only a laptop and headphones, or only my MPC and the headphones. And then when I mix and master it later on, I would use my speakers, but not much before that. So in the production stage, I'm comfortable with using only headphones, but that's just a habit that I have. But the magic about headphones is that later on you can also use them as a microphone. You could back in the days, at least. I don't know if they've done anything to headphones lately. I haven't tried in about 20 years, but let me know in the chat. Have you ever used headphones as microphones? That's really like guerrilla style music production when you I think there was a complete album from the artist Sensational that was recorded using a broken pair of headphones. I don't know if it's myth or if it's actually true. I heard that once, at least. Corner the Market was the name of the album. I really like that album. It's really gritty. But imagine that you record a complete album and you use a broken pair of headphones as a microphone and record it. It's cool. That's guerrilla tactics. Yeah. Haluk, you have recorded using a pair of headphones. You know this they used to say that a speaker is a microphone and a microphone is a speaker. So it goes both ways. It's been a while. Okay, so headphones is like the level one, and then comes monitors and whatever quality of monitors will fit the bill, I think. So I am that. I've always been a bit aesthetic about my music gear, so I would never buy monitor speakers that I didn't like the looks of, and I frankly don't think that it matters that much as long as you like the sound of them at least. So you would try some speakers, and you see the speakers that I have behind me there. These are those at the very back there. Those are the focals. It's the Twin BE with the beryllium dome tweeters. I really like them, and I tested them up against the Newmans and some other focals and the Genelecs. Those were in my test groups. I don't and I think I had a couple more, but I can't remember. It's some years ago now. Before those, I had the Yamaha HS7, and before that again the KRK Rocket 8. Those big rockets from KRK. Good speakers, but a bit hyped in the low end. So whenever I made a dubstep song, it came out really flat and lifeless because I didn't give it enough subs or enough low mids. So, anyways. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. Great placement in front of the other monitor. I know. Ideally, I would have raised it a bit, but you see on the let me see on the picture here. Yeah, it looks worse on camera than it is in real life because my position is a bit taller when I'm mixing, so I get the most out of them. But actually, right now, I tend to use my NS10s most because they have they're more focused on the mid range, and they have even I think maybe it's my imagination, but they have a bit quicker response. And anyways, it's good to have two sets of speakers because then you can A/B back and forth. I really like that. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I'll welcome to my live stream, and I'm so sorry about the panning of the microphone. It's an issue that I tried to solve at the beginning of the stream, but I am clueless. I will Google some solutions later, but that's just the way it is right now. Let's see, Ivar. You use KRK with the Motu sound card, with the Logic, and the Bayers. Yeah, the Bayer Dynamic 770. Wow, nice combination. And then you have those headphones. I have them too. Those are really good for tracking. I don't personally like mixing with them, because I don't know they don't reproduce audio. I think it's something with the mid range in those that sort of lures me in other directions than I want to go. I use a pair of open back headphones for mixing when I do back and forth with the monitors, and especially for low frequency elements. But again, the Behrs are also good for low frequency elements. So if I'm maybe uncertain about the low mids or the subs, I would use the Behrs for reference, I think. Oh yeah. Maybe it's because if it's a stereo channel. Let me just check once more and see if I can resolve the issue. The thing is that in OBS, this is the first time I'm using the streaming software OBS. Right before I went live, I tried to tweak some parameters and the program just shut down, and I had to reopen it. So I would hate for my stream just to shut down right now. So I don't want to take the chance. I'm clicking on the settings button here, the three dots, and nothing happens. So I guess I'm on the brink of being terminated from the stream. So I'll just let it be. And thank you so much for just accepting that the mic is panned, I guess. Yeah. So that's level 2, and level 3 is to have, like, you have some pieces of headphones and some nice monitors that you like inside of your budget, of course. So no snobbery there. Some cheap or low price monitors will get you going. Fluid Audio has some good monitors that I've checked out. The first studio monitors I had was the Edirolls. It's a sub brand of Roland, I think. Anything goes as long as you get started, and then you can always upgrade later. And then comes room treatment. You see, I have some room treatment behind me here. It's not optimal yet. It's work in progress. These are DIY acoustic absorbers. I've made them myself with a saw and a hammer and some what's it called? Nail guns. Yeah, and what I've done wrong here is I have used wrong type of material. I have used, because I was thinking, what's the heaviest type of absorbing insulation that I can get at the hardware shop. And then I got that, and those were actually designed to be laid between stories in buildings. Those are quite crammed, and I think a lot of sound just bounces back from those. So if you're ever considering making your own absorbers, make sure that they are a bit breathable, because it's important that air can flow through the absorber and be turned into warmth. Actually, warm air is the sound. The sound turns into warm air when they touch the absorber. So that's a thing that I've learned, and I'm just waiting for some time to upgrade my absorbers and make them even better. I know that I have a dip in the 50 hertz region in my room here. So I always have to have that in the back of my mind when I mix and master. I have to somehow accommodate the 50 hertz region, but it's better than nothing. And also heavy furniture, couches, carpets on the floor. I have some absorbers in the ceiling as well. Everything goes, everything helps, and this room is by the principle of live and dead end. So I have this is supposed to be my dead end, and the other part of the room is supposed to be the live end. So one would always like to have a bit of the room, even when recording with the microphone. You want to have some room, but you want the good stuff from the room. You don't want the bad stuff. You don't want the ringing, the frequency ring. But I found some positions in this room, so when I have people here recording recording vocals. I have one position that, because after a lot of experimentation, there's one position where there's almost no need for an EQ. But again, it depends on the voice. So I have some main players that comes a lot, and I've figured out the position for them. But it's always some EQing that has to happen. So yeah. Yeah, man, just do it. Room treatment and okay monitors is better than spending thousands on new monitors, but where's the fun in that, right? Yeah, because new monitors are one of the sexiest things that you can buy for your studio because they're so damn sexy. Room treatment maybe almost on the bottom. They're down here with cables, I think, when it comes to sexiness in the home studio. But you really need them, and that's the best upgrade for your studio, I think, when it comes to any upgrades at all. Having some good absorbers or acoustic treatments really upgrades your monitors. You can make your reasonably priced Yamahas or KRKs sound really great with some treatments. Yeah. Oh yeah, Samurai Owl, mixing and mastering noob here, by the way. And I would love to get professional monitors and a treated room. Unfortunately, my studio is the dining room with my laptop on the table, and nobody else in my wants to hear the stuff make. And I really feel you. I'm so fortunate and blessed that I have a room here. This is a quite large room in my basement. We transferred here in 2017, and I've been building this studio complex since then. Before that, I was in your situation, your exact situation. We had a 2-bedroom apartment in Oslo, and I had my only place for a studio was in a corner in the living room with my iMac and my large KRK speakers, which I eventually had to store on in the attic because it took up too much space. So I was mixing and making music using only headphones back then. Really, that was the way way it was. So I feel you, but it's quite possible and very doable to use headphones. And whenever everybody's out and nobody's at home, you can always connect to some speakers and crank up the volume. Beware of the neighbors, but that's even more joy. That's even more a bigger sense of joy when you're restricted, and then you can just have full-blown access to the sound. But again, it's not optimal, it's not ideal, but just working with what you have is the only thing you can do. And I think that you can make a lot of great music using just your headphones. Again, as I said before, I use only headphones when I produce music. I almost never produce music using my speakers. It's mainly 95% for mixing and mastering, those speakers that I have here in the studio. Yeah. And Ivar, so Logic 10 folks can recommend it strongly. So I've just upgraded to Logic 11 with some, I think I have mixed feelings. I really like the stem splitter and I like the chroma glow. I've made videos for both of those tools that have come new in Logic Pro 11. But what I've noticed, and this is, I don't know if this goes for anyone else, if anyone else here in the chat has Logic Pro 11 now. And there's a lot of clicks and pops from plugins. When I have automation going, for example, I hear sudden, and it's really irritating. And I even hear them when I bounce the song. So that's I didn't have that on Logic 10, so it's always scary to upgrade. And I've read in several forums that people advise against them. Advise against doing that, upgrading when it's early. Yeah. Let's see. Just do it. I'm sorry. Behringer is only good for. Let's see. I have to have it here. Behringer is only good for Ole, by the way. Don't make the man more money until he comes up with his own designs. Uli. Yeah. And hello, Cartula. You can virtually mix on anything, headphones or near fields as well. Every room, as long as you know your room. Yeah, you're perfectly right. It's yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, and that was my half serious comment before, that you can buy studio monitors based on the design, how it looks. It was half a joke and half truth, because when it all comes down to it, it's what you know that gives you the results. So if you know your room and you know the sound, and you've compared it to your references, everything goes, I think, almost without exception. And the rest, I think, is marketing. So you have a lot of marketing that goes towards getting the more expensive stuff, the expensive brands. Oh, you have a pair of wireless. What's that? I never heard of those. Are those headphones, or I don't have the chance to Google them right now? Are those Just Do It? Are those headphones, or are they monitors? I was wondering. Yeah. Oh yeah, Haluk, you're on Intel, and on Intel you don't have there are some functions that you don't get access to on the Intel. I don't think that's nice done of Apple. I don't think that's a good thing to do. I think that's a bit cruel from Apple's side to not include the stem splitter. But maybe that's because they've optimized it for the new chip. I don't know. I don't know the technicalities there, but it's a drag for people with Intel Macs. And you don't need to have a very old computer to run Intel, and then you upgrade to 11 and you have this great new feature and you can't use it. That sucks. Yeah, oh yeah, wireless headphones, latency-free wireless headphones. Oh, that's a dream. I have the Apple AirBuds, but before I had a cordless. I think it was a Sony piece of quite nice Sony headphones, but I had to use the cable because there were latency, and but with latency-free headphones sounds amazing. Oh yeah, now I get it. I remember now. Yeah. That brand. It comes to me now. Now I connected the dots. Yeah, sorry. Cool. Have any one of you tried the Slate VSX? Everybody brags about them and think it's a hype around those. Have you tried them? It would be interesting to see if any one of you had any experience with them. I have never tried them, but I'm curious about them. I'm not sure if I believe the hype. But I would like to try them to see for myself. Yeah, Hulk, I see your dilemma there. A 2009 Mac running Sonoma, is that possible? I had the iMac that I had. That's a 2011 iMac, and it couldn't run more than High Sierra but maybe Mac Pro is a different beast. It has other. It doesn't have those limitations that iMacs and the MacBooks has. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you're totally right about the SSD. You really need some some good storage. Yeah, at least 4 TB. Yeah, that should be enough. But it again, it depends on the usage. Maybe you have large files and you need a storage. Totally get that, but it's also important to and the bigger storage you have, the more external hard drives you're dependent on, because you always want to back stuff up, and the more space you need to have for the cloud. So what did they say? They say that if you haven't saved it on 3 places, it doesn't exist. That's a saying that I've heard, and it rings true every time. And when I try to find some old sessions, they're always gone. If they're more than 2 or 3 years old, it's not there unless I have been very specific about saving to more than one place. For example, my wedding photos, they are stored, I think, 5 places, and they're still there. And I think I would have something chopped off if those were to find their way out in the internet or the storage graveyard for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, and just do it. With the thing with monitors is personal. Yeah, I totally agree. The reason is we have different hearing with dips at different frequencies. Yeah, and if you give everyone the same monitor and the same monitor, maybe even the same monitoring conditions, you would have different results. I totally agree with that. And even with age, your hearing will slightly decline. You will cease to hear 20K, for example, will just be evaporated from your perception, and it will go down and down and down. I remember my grandma, and I think she was over 80 when she said that she still heard the crickets. And she was amazed that she still did, but a couple of years later, she didn't hear them anymore. So when you don't hear the crickets anymore, it's you're old, I guess. But that's a good one. Yeah, definitely. And also what you say about the dips, and who knows? Maybe it's my hearing. I would have to get a second opinion with the 50 hertz dip. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Haluk, you have a lot of backup hard drives. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. But the more you produce, the more space is eaten up. I have a policy that after 1 year I erase when it comes to client mixes and session files and all the masters and mixes that I do. After 1 year I erase everything. That's like a policy that I have. But to be honest, I have yet to erase anything. I just keep it there. I don't know. And then it comes up to a point where my external hard drives don't have any more space, and I'm screwed. So I need to start following my guidelines. But don't you think that's a good guideline to have, to erase stuff older than 1 year that isn't your own? I think that's a good guideline. And then you just have to trust that someone else, maybe your friend or your client or whoever, just takes care of it. But the complete finished stereo file will always be saved somewhere. Okay, so that was the listening. And yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, John, you only mix on headphones and earbuds, and I think that's perfectly doable. You have those who say that you can't mix on headphones, and I think they're wrong. But again, there's some truth to it, because you have when you listen to something on speakers, you get a different impression, because you get the sound from for example, from the left speaker. You get the sound from the left speaker in both your left and right ear, and same for the right speaker, with a slight delay in time, because it takes a bit shorter time for the left speaker to reach your left ear than your right ear, but those are like minute differences. But for example, send effects will sound different on headphones. They will always sound more pronounced on headphones and more exaggerated, and while on speakers you don't hear them that much. They're not that audible. I almost said visible. Audible. So checking on some sort of speaker would also be, of course, advisable. But if earbuds and headphones is all you have, I think you can do great mixes on just using those as well. But just firing off a mix on the laptop speakers just to hear how they sound in the room would always be preferable as well, just to check different places, and the more places you can check it makes, the better, especially when working under such conditions. Cool. Yeah, definitely, John, to check on small speakers, and well, yeah, cool. Yeah, and Haluk, you're really, yeah, I totally agree with you on that notion that that you can mix on earbuds and make perfect sounding music. That's perfectly doable. But I think they would also listen in on speakers in some way or form. Yeah, Bayer's 990, those are open back, I think. I've heard a lot of good stuff about them. I personally use the Shure 1840s, SRH 1840s. I really like those. I used them once. I used them for my turntables when I was DJing, and I had to get something, and I dragged one of the cables a bit. They got a hit, and now I always struggle with the sound in the left ear, but it's not that bad. Yeah. Oh yeah. When it comes, just do it with the amp. You're talking about headphone amps. Some of those headphones have higher impedance. That's true. So I know at least that my Bayer Dynamics, I chose to go for the 80 ohms, and those are good for. They can also be connected to, for example, a phone via converter cable. But I don't think that my Shures will be that good on the phone. I've never tried it. I run my Shures out of my Universal Audio interface, and the headphone preamps there are quite decent. It works well, but it's absolutely worth considering when getting headphones. What type of amp are you using, or are you even using a dedicated amp, or what have you? So yeah. Cool. Listening. So level 1 headphones, level 2 headphones and monitors, and level 3 headphones and monitors, and some nice room treatments, or room treatments, and then you can always upgrade the room treatment as you progress. Moving on. Sources. So you have, like, to make music, you need a computer or some type of a mothership. That could also be a multi-track hardware recorder or whatever. Reel-to-reel was mentioned. Cassette players was mentioned. And you need some listening conditions, either headphones or the built-in speakers on your laptop, or even dedicated studio monitors or what have you. And then the room treatments. And then comes the sources, and the level 1 here would be software samples and loops, because those are inside your computer. There's nothing that you need other than ripping something off YouTube and tweaking it, looping it in Ableton or in Cubase or Reason or whatever, and make music out of it. That's like the lowest entry point of getting some audio source and start making music. So I think those are the three things that you need for music production. So and here I'm speaking to beginners, and I know that you guys in the chats, you're definitely not beginners. You're some of you are, I guess, way beyond me as well. But for anyone watching, since I've made this structure right here, I'm just mentioning it anyways. Yeah. So that's like software samples and loops, and those can be had for free, or you could like use Splice or Loop Cloud to get access to a ton of sounds. And you have the native instruments with all those contact instruments, and then you move up in level. On level 1, like built-in sounds on your computer. Synthesizers, software synths, romplers, samplers, and everything like that. And then you come to level 2, and I think that's where I'm at right now. Microphone and instruments and audio interface and mic and instruments input. So I started off with my first audio interface back in, I think it was early 2000s. I started with an M Audio what's it called? Firewire interface. I think it was called the M Audio Fire something. It was a Firewire interface with 2 ins and 2 outs. It had headphone inputs or output, headphone output, and 2 microphone inputs. And then I upgraded to Balance from Propeller Head. I don't know if any of you remember that. That was like the dedicated audio interface for Reason. It was really good, actually, and it still works today. I have it in my cupboard behind me. I use it from time to time if I want something that is bus powered, because I have the Universal Audio Twin, the Twin Duo, and I have upgraded with an additional Apollo X6, which is perfect for me, because then I have microphone inputs. I have 4 of them now with Unison, so I can have real-time universal audio effects and preamps and get the vintage vibe if I want to, or the more modern styles, just right inside the box without any latency at all, and people tracking with some nice compressors and equalizers, and even send effects that is offline but in the console app. But you don't track the sound effects, but it's just there for the artist, so I can build great listen mixes for people recording here, and I really like that. So this is ideal for me, because there are several line inputs also for my turntables behind me there. Let me just show you my turntable setup. I'm a DJ. Look here. So here's my two turntables and a microphone. It's right here. Yeah. So those are. Let's see if I can get back to my previous position, or let's select this. So those were my Technics SL 1210 Mark 5, I think. Mark 5. The first turntable I bought back in 1997 or so. Used from a friend, so I have some love for that particular turntable. It's like I have a lot of memories with that. It has been along with me during all my transfers, and it's always been with me. So I have some affection for that. That's the only piece of gear actually that I have some true affection for. And the other turntable I bought used on the internet, and now I have two. So and I have a Tractor Z2. That's my mixer. It's the Native Instruments mixer. So, but I really like my setup. I have enough inputs, and I have enough mic inputs, and I have two headphone inputs, and that's something I really appreciate. So someone recording could have one pair of headphones, and I can have a pair of headphones, and we could have fun. And I have this talkback function on the Twin that I can just press, and it's a great monitor controller. And if I had to recommend an audio interface for anyone, the Apollo Twin is a definite winner. If you only want two inputs, you have two inputs and you have four outs, and that's really practical. You can have two pairs of monitors, for example, using only the Twin. So that's a great interface, and I like the sound of it. Let's see. Yeah, just do it. When it comes to buying plugins, yeah, preach, my friend. This is so true. I wish somebody had come to me in about circa 2017, 2018, and slapped me in the face a couple of times. Don't buy that plugin. I started with third-party plugins when Reason opened up for it, and even before Reason started with it, when Reason was on the RE, because I always just used Reason at that time, and I bought the Ozone. I think it was Ozone 5. I don't remember. It was only the Ozone Maximizer. I bought that, and then I started. I wanted the LA2A, the 1176, and I just. And it's a deep hole. It's an abyss. I have a friend who is quite eager on the plugins, and I tried to calm him down, but it's like, you can't change people. I've changed. I don't buy plugin that much anymore. Not that much, at least. But there are always plugins that you would need, but it's a black hole indeed. And when you go into, for example, I don't know, Plugin Alliance, for example, there are so many good-looking plugins, and you just want to try them all and start off, or you fall for the subscription model. I think it was 2 or 3 years. I was a loyal Slate Digital subscriber. I've been a subscriber to Kush Audio, and it's really like once you subscribe and you start using the plugins and you want to go back in sessions, you know that you can't unsubscribe, because if you do, all those plugins from the previous sessions will be shut off, and then you would have to do all the work again or do something else. I don't know. It's really, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think that's a good model. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think about subscription models for plugins. I think I have a complete different section on that, actually. Oh yeah, you have the Vestox Haluk, you have the Vestox turntables. Those I really wanted those, because the stylus doesn't skip that much when you're scratching on those, because the tone arm is straight or something. Is that true, or is that just a myth? I don't know. I've never tried the Vestox. Oh, a couple of times. But I don't remember the difference. But I have always struggled a bit with the stylus skipping. But now that I'm on DVS, it doesn't matter anymore. And I have a Vestox PMC 05 Pro as well, a mixer that I bought years back. Yeah, Ivar, Supermassive from Valhalla. That's a great plugin. Um, I used the vintage verb, but when I want something crazy, like some crazy combination of reverb and delay, I like to use the Supermassive. It's really great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Back on topic. Yeah, just do it. No subscriptions for you, and none for me neither. Like we're on the same page. So level two is where I'm at. When it comes to microphones and instruments, I use only microphones. I have no instruments per se, like for DI use or guitars. I'm not a guitar person. I don't play the bass, even though that's actually an instrument I would like to learn someday. The bass. But I have a Moog hardware synth right behind me there. It's blinking and flashing and sitting there looking sexy and nice. I use that occasionally. I like to use it just to jam for myself to get some, I don't know, some feeling, some good feels. Occasionally I use them for production as well, to lay down some nice texturized bass lines, for example. The Moog is perfect for, and it has really good sounding leads that can be tweaked amazingly well, but it's a matter of time. It's the issue about it's the issue of time. So I don't use that many instruments, and I can't think of a scenario where I would need more inputs than I have now, other than if I wanted to go completely in on the hardware route and wanted to have full control over everything. I don't need any more, but for those who want to record mic'd up drum kits and multiple guitars and bands, would of course be on level 3 with multiple ins and outs and more than one or two preamps, maybe a complete set of preamps, and so on and so forth, patch bass and converters and what have you. So, are any of you guys or girls on level 3? You think, like, do you have many ins and outs and several preamps? Let me know. Let's see. Yeah. So I guess just do it. You have the same sensation that I have. That I must admit, because I'm on Logic Pro 11 now, and I have the M2 chip. I have access to all these AI instruments, the session players, the drums, of course, has been there for a while. The bass and the guitar, I think. Or is it a piano? I can't remember. I don't care that much about those things. I've heard that they're brilliant, and I don't say anything. I won't say anything against it. I don't. I like AI when it comes to doing bulk work. To give me a starting point. I like AI. I think that I'm really not in the right genre for. I think as maybe singer songwriter, for pop music, or even for more I don't know, grunge, funk, everything live instruments would maybe benefit from it. But again, as you say, going back old school, going back to the roots, going back to the real stuff, the real organic instruments. I think that's becoming even more valuable now. So whenever you hear something that is actually real, I think you will be even more stoked and pleased. It's like you see all these covers now on social media. People making music and making AI generated cover images. It might be in the same alley there. I'm not impressed when I see AI generated images. I don't know. Do you agree? I think it was. I thought it was cool in the start, and now I think it's a bit of a turn off. I don't know. It's the same thing maybe. Yeah, Ivar, thank you so much for hanging out now, and I hope you will return again. I will do a live stream in the first Monday of July, and I will post it wherever I can, so you will be notified. And if you hit subscribe, you will also get a notification, and I will also make a community post some days before my live stream. And thank you so much for joining. Okay. I'll go over to the last of the must-haves, and those are the boring stuff, the accessories, the basic cables. That's the level 1. You know, you need the USB cable for the interface. You need the instrument cables, mic cables, monitor cables, and what have you. What you need? Electricity cables, the boring stuff. And then I figured that level 2 it might be some dedicated stands. So behind me right here, I don't know if you can see it, but I have some stands, some monitor stands from. Let's see. Oh yeah. So those are from Hofa Acoustic. I bought them on Tuman some years back. You can see here. Those are actually. I don't know if I can get my camera here. Yeah. So you see that. There's like cylindrical mic stands with acoustic absorbers inside. It's like quite sweet. I think it's a good it's a nice invention. It's sort of there is a system, and I can't recall what it's called. Maybe you can. If you Google it, it's like it's a complete acoustic system. I think it's based in north of LA. I think it's from Portland or something. That company, they have this tube-shaped acoustic treatments that goes all the way up to the roof almost, or all the way up to the ceiling, and supposed to be really good. And I think they have the inspiration from there. So there's that. Those are some. I would call those dedicated stands. And then you have the complete interior design, and that's what I'm aiming for in my home studio. I like to have a bit of a vibe, and just want to show you the other side that you never see in my YouTube videos. Let's see. I'm gonna show you this other side here. So here we have. So here I have some other absorbers, and this is actually the let's see. So I'll show you here. So this is what it looks like. This is the fireplace actually. So I've just I've covered my fireplace in acoustic material. Maybe maybe later down the line I could make my studio around the fireplace and have a nice fire going as I was mixing and mastering, but I'm a bit afraid of the heat for my equipment. So but that would be a really nice vibe. I once saw I think it was on Instagram. I saw there's a mix engineer that I'm following on Instagram, and he had made his the whole complete back wall of his mastering studio. It was covered in wood, like wood for burning, like what's it called? I can't recall the English word. Logs, like logs. I think it's called logs. Yeah. So that's like when you're considering the whole interior design, and it's like it's part to get the best sound possible from your room, but it's also part to get the vibe and the inspiration. I think a lot of inspiration also can be had from having a good vibe in your room. So I have this fake plant right behind me there, so I can't maintain living beings down here. I have enough to take care of myself and just survive down here. I wouldn't have the capacity to maintain the life of a real plant. And not least, this is a basement room, so the lighting here is also quite terrible. There's a terrace beyond the windows. I have three windows back there, but they let in too little lights to make life good for any living, breathing plant. Yeah. So I've discussed a bit about future needs here. So my studio around the fireplace. I don't know. What do you think? Is vibe important? Like the layout of the room? I like to have it clean. I don't like to have it messy. So you see that I have it clean, and that's not because and tidy. I like to have it tidy and clean, and that's not because I was preparing and showing off because I was having a live stream. It's actually the way it looks all the time down here. So I never have a lot of mess around. The for the most part, I have maybe this one. This is for my tea bag, but not much else. I like to have it. I like to have it clean. What about you? Do you like to have it clean around? You like tidy, or maybe you don't care. I don't know. Many of my music friends don't care at all and just leave empty bags of chips and empty Coke bottles laying around and floating. But I lose inspiration when it's when there's like, what's it called? When there's a lot to see. Maybe I have some condition. I don't know. I can't work when there's a mess. Yeah. For example, with ADD, that's a really good point. To have a tidy room so you don't get that many distractions, I guess. So I think it's that way. I'm easily distracted, really easy. It's easy to distract me. When making music, I can't have my phone around us. So yeah. Mm. Clean room, maybe some dark colors and wood. Yep. I had one because I did a lot of consulting sessions with different musicians some while ago, and one of them commented when we talked, and he said that like the only thing that you're lacking now is a towel around your neck because it looks like you're sitting there in a sauna. Have you checked out if you could call your studio like sauna sounds or something? So I actually started. I started googling sauna sounds, and yeah, it was taken. Sauna sounds was taken. You can Google it, sauna studios or whatever. So that's already there. Yeah. Right. So, anyways, having the vibe is good. I was thinking I don't like these walls. I love wood, but this wood right here, maybe I'm snobby right now, but this wood right here is so typical for Norwegian 1980s homes. And in the 80s you would see walls like this all over the place, and it's sort of like the Norwegian hut culture or the cabin culture in Norway. You have these all around, so maybe it's a cultural thing. I kind of wish that I had some other color on the wall, but that really is not a priority for me, not now at least, because again I would have to prioritize that, spend time and money on it. So yeah. Cool. Um, let's see. Yeah, and have a lot of hardware that's hands-on. Totally agree. I have these two racks right here, and it's like it's perfect for me because on the and it's not and it's really intentional as well. I just want to show you. I'm switching my camera a bit, just to show you. Let's see, like here. So on the left side here, on the left side, because I'm left-handed, so on the left side I have my everything monitoring. So I have my audio interface. Here I have another, this is a headphone amp, 4-channel headphone amp. I don't use it anymore because I have now 2 inputs on my Apollo, and I have my power conditioner up here, and and here I have my like monitor controller. So that's perfect for my left hand, and for my right hand I have everything tweaking. So I tweak the fader, for example, and I have the transport controls on my fader port, and I have my right arm for tweaking my hardware compressors. So I have the SSL Fusion and the Warm Audio bus comp, and I tweak those with my right arm. And what you see on top there is it's not a power conditioner, but it's a power selector. So I have the option of turning on and off my monitors. So these two right here represents the focals, and this one is for the preamplifier for the NS10s. So I always keep them off, and those are the last thing that I turn on and the first thing that I turn off when I have a studio session, because I had the issue with getting occasional clicks and pops in my speakers, and I think that will deteriorate it will make the speakers it will do some damage to the speakers in the long run. So I invested in one of those. It's like $100 on Thomann, I think it was. So I really like that I have that level of control, but that with my right arm. So that's the setup. And then the synthesizer, the hardware synthesizer on the left hand side as well, so I can just start tweaking, doing everything. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so that was just like a quick breakdown of my setup as well, since you gave me the idea. Oh, Espen Kraft. That sounds familiar, but I can't connect it right now in the heat of the moment, but I'm sure I'm sure it will dawn on me, like the ay before. And now comes the nice to haves, and these are the nice to haves in my opinion. You don't need any of these, but they're nice to have. And software controllers. These are some types. These are gear types that I somewhat regret getting, but they are like almost in the same league as studio monitors when it comes to sexiness. They're so sexy, darn sexy. Have you seen the new? They're not new now, but the SSL controllers for bus processing. And it's the UF1, with the faders, with the fader, and UF8, I think, with 4. I think it's 8 faders. Yeah, they're so good looking, and I think they're and they look heavy and they look expensive, and it's like I would really like one of those. But again, I know that my fader port here, that's one of the those, this is actually one of the mainstays that I have when it comes to software controllers. I use it all the time. It's even I'm even so dependent on it. So when I'm out traveling, I sometimes, if I'm traveling for a long period of time, I will bring with me the fader port because of the fader automation and the transport controls and the pan knob and everything. So I really like to use this. Saves a lot of mouse movement, but I have had several keyboard controllers, and I always end up using the built-in on the keyboard when working in Ableton or Logic or Reason. So they're more sexy than they are useful, in my opinion. But it again, it depends. If you're a keyboardist, for example, you would really benefit of a 61 or 88 key keyboard and have your way at it. But for my use case, it's not that useful. I also have the Machine. I had the Machine Studio, and I sold it. I now have the Machine Mark III, and I'm about to sell that as well because I don't use it that much. After I got my MPC, I have the MPC Live, and it works. It works really good for me to have this computerless way of making music. Even though the MPC is a computer in and of itself, but it's standalone and it's battery driven, and I can sit on a plane and make beats. It's like it's a machine. I can sit on my couch and make beats basically. So I like that one. But software controls, you have to hook it up to the computer, and when you're on the computer, it's many times it's easier to just do what you're going to do on the computer. But I don't know. What's your experience? Let me know. Yeah. Yeah, with regards to the SSL controllers, yeah, I think they have some software for that is dedicated that you need to have. Maybe that's the case, yeah. But the reviews that I've seen is quite positive, and it works well with Logic. But again, do I need it? Can I justify the price? For me right now, I can't. The more reasonably priced fader port from PreSonus is more than enough for me right now. And I'm not sponsored. Yeah. And I don't want to throw SSL under the bus because I love SSL. I have the Fusion. I love it. And I have the Solid Bus Comp 2, the plugin, the bus compressor plugin. It's really good. It's awesome. Oh yeah, the knob controller, that's really neat. That's been around for some while. It's just one knob, and it's wooden, and it has several functions, and it's really easy. I like it when you can have minimalistic equipment. I like it when equipment is minimalistic. I think it's that's a really good one. I've never touched it. I've never seen it in a local music store before. I'm curious about that one too. Agreed. Yeah. So that was the controllers. Additional monitor screens. So you see here, I'm using I'm using my laptop. I have a screen that I can hook up with this. It's an old Asus monitor screen. It's okay, I guess. I'm not that dependent on it. I like it when I'm used to this laptop screen and I can go on with this for hours. I don't mind. I don't need a bigger screen. I think that also the plugins that I use, the more modern plugins, all the controls are big now. I especially notice when I'm using the older plugins in Logic that the controls are really small, especially the synths and what's it called again? The drum machine, the built-in drum machine and the stock drum machine in Logic. I can't recall the name of it now. I haven't used it in a couple of years, but all the controls there are so small, tiny controls. Also, the same goes for Reason. The old instances, the plugins in Reason, they're really small controls. So, but the modern plugins have bigger controls. I use FabFilter a lot, and they have big, bold controls. So I don't need a second screen. I think that's one of my bottom priorities. Yeah, Ultra Beat is. Thank you, Ultra Beat. Yeah, the controls are so small. It's a good plugin, but the controls are too small for me. So I find it hard to navigate in it. And then we come to hardware bus processors, and I love bus processing. I think I have a sort of a fetish for bus compression, I think, and I really like that top-down mixing approach. So when I have the time, when I'm really squeezed on time and I have a deadline and I have several projects stacked up together and I have I need to deliver mixes or masters, I do it in the box. I just have to do it in the box because then I get revisions, and when I get a revision back, to run it again through the processors, because I have to bounce offline, so I would have to listen to the whole song. I could do other stuff while listening in the bounce, but that's a time issue. But I love using it when I have the time to mix into the warm audio bus comp and tweak and also into the Fusion and tweak, and it's a good feeling. I know that there are worse tools and there are better tools on the market. You could 10x the price of my mastering or mixing chain right here, and you could get probably better results. But this is what I got, and it's actually I think it's quite luxurious, everything considered. I'm humbled that I have the ability to work with tools like this. So I love them. They are nice to have, but they're not. You don't need them for a studio. You can do fine with plugins. But I really enjoy mixing into these. I don't know what about you. Haluk, thank you so much for staying with me this long. Really nice to have you too, and I hope that you will join my live stream in a month. I will make sure that it's notified promptly a couple of days before, and I will put reminders on without spamming. I hate spamming people. So, yeah, cool. Moving on. Third-party plugins is a blessing and a curse. We've already discussed it. Just Do It. You had some thoughts about third-party plugins, I think, before, and I also have some thoughts on that. I'm a bit mixed between having the mindset of mixing only using stock plugins. That's one notion. Mixing only using free plugins, that's another notion. And and getting some really good paid third-party plugins. Just to underline it, I'm not against people using cracked software or plugins at all. I think if you have to use cracked software, you should knock yourself out. And I have done it a lot in the past. When I started out making music, when I started out making music on the computer, I had this idea that nothing that was software should be paid for. Everything should be free. But now I have, as I've become a grown up, I know that these plugin companies, they spend tons of effort in developing the best possible sounding plugins, and I really appreciate that. Along with my frustration over plugins not working the way they should, not having the ability to upgrade, and so there are so many disadvantages of having cracked software on your computer that it's just not worth it. I'd rather spend thousands of dollars just to not have cracked plugins on my computer. And that involved, because I'm not a rich man, that involves me having to prioritize something away, just to have my plugins legal and upgradable, updatable, and what have you. And for example, Logic is is free when it comes to upgrades. I really appreciate that. And there are other companies that also do free upgrades. And then you have plugins such as and I just want to mention a couple of plugins that I definitely not regret having. The Fab Filter plugins that I have many of the Fab Filter ones. They are quite pricey, but I think they're worth every penny or dime, or what it's called. The Pro Q3, the Pro C2, the Pro L, the Saturn, the Pro MB. Those are great plugins that I use almost in every mix. And then there's Kush Audio, the UBK plugins. I really like the Novatron and the Bliss. And Isotope has some great plugins in the Ozone package and the RX bundle. And then I use a lot of, let's see, let me think. And then there's some rogue plugins that I use. So I use the Valhalla Vintage Verb. I use many of the Sound Toys plugins. I use the Track Spacer from Waves Factory, the Oak Sound Soothe 2, and I'm curious about the Bloom, which was just released. And I have made a video about the Schwabe Digital Gold clip, and a video about the Orange clip is coming. It's in the making. It will come in a couple of weeks. Surprisingly good plugins. And I think I've shelled off a large amount of money on plugins that really isn't necessary, but they're sexy looking, such as some great looking compressors and equalizers that looks and also sound quite great, but are less practical. So let me know in the chat if you're still there. I hope so. Let me know if you have some favorite plugins, third-party plugins that you like. You couldn't live without them. And have you ever bought any plugins that you kind of regret having? You can also sell plugins. That's another thing that you can actually you can buy secondhand plugins. That's also a possibility. So let me know what you think. And are you a stock plugin only guy or girl, or are you more into paid plugins, or what's your take on it? I would love to discuss. Yeah, definitely. Unless you got gas, it's dedication. If when shelling out those hard-earned bucks. True. John, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope I see you in the next live stream. I really appreciate you, and having a catch some sleep if you're starting already at 5 a.m. I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks. Oh yeah, just do it. You go stock plugins only. I think that that's me personally. I think it's a bit challenging. It depends on which DAW you're on. I'm on Logic. Now with all the new really nice stock EQs and compressors, and even send effects has become great. I like the chroma verb, for example. I can do a whole mix using only the stock Logic plugins, but then again, I have these third-party plugins that I have become acquainted to using. And for example, the track spacer is almost on all of my mixes, and the immediateness of the Pro Q3, as opposed to the stock Logic EQ, the linear phase EQ in Logic. It's just faster to use the Pro Q3 in my opinion, but of course, that's only about speed, I think, for me at least. I think you can make moves quite quickly with the linear phase EQ, but it's all down to what you've done a lot of in the past. So I think doing stock only is like in my world. Using stock plugins only implies that you're like on a pro level, like you are when you're starting out. You only use what you have, and you don't know exactly what you're doing. And then, at least for me, I started buying plugins because I thought plugins would get me a better sound when I didn't know what I was doing. And then I got all these plugins, and my mixes were train wrecks. And then I started learning. I bought some courses, and I studied under some really skilled engineers right outside of Oslo, and who taught me how to actually mix and master. And then I slowly became aware of that. Okay, plugins were actually a dead end, and I could actually have just gone back to the stock plugins. So I think that's like you're there as a beginner, you get the plugins, and then you become a pro, and quote unquote pro, and then you go back to when you're more skilled, you can just go back to the stock plugins, and you know exactly what you're doing. So you get a great sound using stock plugins. So I think it's a lot of marketing there, that you are marketed to every day, that you have to get this and this plugin to get that and that color and vibe. And I don't know, I think it's the sound source, the source material, that's like 90% of the vibe, and then you can always manipulate it, but when it all comes down to it, I don't know. I think that's a good approach. It sounds like a really sound way of approaching audio, work with audio. Like it's some restrictions, but yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have the complete. I think I have the complete 10. I have the ultimate bundle. The only plugin that I use there actually is the Transit Master, because I have an SSL version now, sorry, SPL version of it, but it doesn't work on my computer somehow. It's from Plugin Alliance, so I use the Transit Master still. It works great as an envelope shaper, but now I think I'm done with that as well, because you have the impact in the new Ozone 11 that I have now. So I'm onto that because it's multiband. But anyways, what I miss stock in Logic would be something in the lines of the track spacer from Waves Factory, where you can do side chaining really easy and without any side chaining artifacts. I really like that about the track spacer. It's one of my favorite plugins. I don't know if there's anything except maybe the multiband compressor, the multipressor or something in Logic. You can pull off some of the same stuff there. Maybe I don't know. What do you do when you if you want to sidechain vocals, the main vocals to some of the instruments? Do you just use a broadband compressor, or do you use a multiband compressor with sidechain, or what do you do? Now I was rambling. I'm sorry. I think I was rambling a bit. Yeah. So that was actually it, I think, when it comes to gear. So let's see if I can just make a brilliant finale here. Let's blow up myself a bit. I'm moving myself over here, making myself big and nice. Still having some of that background in my video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I think this was really interesting. It was really interesting to get some perspectives other than myself's. I think that gear is is a fascinating topic, and I think it's also easy to be distracted by gear when it all comes down to it. You need the essentials, and when you have the essentials, all you need is skills. I think I learned that the hard way, that you can't just buy yourself out of, because it's the easiest thing to do is to buy new stuff. But maybe buy books, buy courses, or buy time from people who have more experience than yourself. I think that's one of the greatest investments I've made in my I think 30 years now in audio. I think that's acquiring skills, and then it's it's almost overwhelming how little gear you need when you first have the skills. So I think that gear actually can be a dead end. You have to, I think, for myself at least, if I had the ability to go back in time, I think I would say to myself that instead of buying those and those plugins, and instead of upgrading your speakers right now, I would spend that hard-earned cash on hiring a professional to show you the ropes or something. So because it costs money for people to, in terms of time, for example, or buy courses about mixing or mastering. I think that's a good investment. Or books, read some books. I have an idea for a video about books that I could recommend. I think I have more than 30 books on my Kindle. So I would like to make a video about that. I think that would be cool. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for your patience initially, and sorry about the audio. I will fix that ASAP. If it's still only on your right ear, I don't know what to do, but I'll figure it out. It's figure outable, I think. So, yeah. yeah, those were some wise words. Just do it. Master what you have, and less becomes more. I think that's. I think we can end this live stream with those words of wisdom, and just acquire skills, I guess, and try again. And I think I think repetition will be key. So thank you so much for watching. I will end this stream now, and yeah, thanks.